Hey, Adri, you want to try this Saigon fruit beer?
A what?
You know, a Saigon apple beer.
No. What are you talking about? What's that?
What? You don't know? They taste so good. There's chili, ginger, and this one's apple. I'm trying to speak more Vietnamese. Try this fermented apple juice.
You're not speaking Vietnamese. You're speaking English. Show me what you're drinking.
Here.
Saigon Cider.
Yeah, that's what I said. Fermented apple juice. If you want to enjoy a Saigon cider while we're stuck in lockdown, you can still get delivery through Classic Deli or ByNature. Check out the links in the notes.
Hột gà nướng, hột vịt lộn, hột vịt sữa, trứng cút lộn, ớt xào đây.
Right, final questions, okay. Alright, first question of season 6. Now, a bit of context here. As we know, the podcast is called 7 Million Bikes because there are over 7 million registered motorbikes in Saigon, 45 million in the whole of Vietnam. Incredible. But as we talk about urban planning and development in Saigon over the last 5 years, the amount of cars on the road has gone through the roof, right? Now, we know as well Vietnam has a lot of inequality. A lot of people with very, very little money and some people with a lot of money. And in my country, we say that money can't buy taste, which applies to people who buy expensive cars in Vietnam. What I've noticed over the last few months, as the cars get more expensive, the paintwork gets more ridiculous. So in the last few months, I've seen a Land Rover can only be described as beetle green. So, you know, like the back of like shiny green.
Like iridescent.
Yeah, that's a great word. Yeah, exactly like that. I can't try and say that word. There's too many R's in the middle. Iridescent. There's a Porsche in my building that has been given decals to make it look like the car from Cars. You know the Disney movie Cars? I'm not
Which
joking.
car?
I
There
don't
are
know.
many cars in Cars.
I actually haven't seen the movie. What's the
The
main
movie
one?
is Cars,
it's red.
not Car. Steve McQueen?
Yeah,
no,
that one.
that's the designer. Lightning McQueen.
Lightning McQueen. I think it's that one.
William
yeah.
Wallace?
Shut up. Lightning McQueen. The one, yeah, so they had decals on it. And then the worst one was last week. I saw it in my building, which tells you about my building. A bedazzled Mercedes. The whole thing was glittery silver.
It sounds beautiful.
Yeah. And on the way here today, I can't believe I didn't stop to take a picture. I was going by the VinFast showroom. There was a brand new VinFast car that was two-tone yellow-black. So it went from yellow and faded into black. And it's just like, what is going on? So anyway, the question is, what's the craziest car that you've seen in Vietnam?
Now that you gave that context, I'm not sure if my answer is appropriate. I guess I'm not going on roads that have crazy cars.
If you're in Tao Dien, which it sounds like you spend time if you live there, I've seen all of these cars in Tao Dien.
I feel like maybe I'm just not well versed in cars, but there have been some bright pink colors. But I was going to say I was in District 12 once, and somebody was on a motorbike driving very slowly, and a live horse was just like trotting along beside them. So that was going to be my answer to what's the craziest like car vehicle you've seen. A horse. Like an actual horse.
Yeah.
It looked miserable.
I'll bet, yeah. It's so bloody hot. But pink cars as well, though, that's a common one as well. And I've seen so many cars like Barbie pink, and you're like, what is going on? So that's your real answer then. I'll take Barbie pink.
Actually, I've been working for Ho Chi Minh Motor Show for 3 years in a row. So I've been modeling there for like Lexus and Chevrolet. And so I saw very beautiful cars next to me. But the craziest one was one day I went out next to Mastery and I saw this super fancy, I forgot the brand, but like pink sport car. And that was very surprising because like, okay, so you're probably a man, I don't know, because it was a manly car, like racing car, a little bit, but pink. And I just stand like, okay, it just like took my breath away, literally. So I forgot the brand, but it is really impressive, like out of nowhere, like a sport car, like strong, pink.
This is exactly why I'm asking that question, because the same thing's happened to me. You see this car that's so nice, must have cost maybe $500,000, and it is just like, I'll be honest, hideous. Like bright pink or something like that.
You
You're
know,
like,
in France we have a quote. It's like, for like, les goûts et les couleurs, ça se discute pas. It's like the tastes and the color we don't discuss. Basically, it's like everyone has their own opinion, something like that. So
oh, okay.
don't discuss. Yeah.
See, I'm from a very opinionated place. Because I just think, though, if I was in New Zealand where I lived before, or any Western country, and someone was driving down the street in a bright baby pink car, you'd just be like, what are you doing? People would judge. So I'm showing my judgmental side here.
You are judgmental. You are.
I don't. You know what's funny? I don't think I've seen like where I've been like, oh, this is a crazy. I think one time I did see like it's funny you say that. I haven't thought about this until you just said it. I think it was actually like you. I think it was either a Lamborghini or like a Ferrari, like some like a $200,000 car, and the paint job on it was like a pastel, like it was terrible. But the bigger point that you're making, that like as someone who drives a motorbike here, it's just the so you talked about how many motorbikes. There are so many cars on the road now, and like big SUVs, and it's like buses. I understand they're public transport; they're very much needed here. I'm always like, why would you live in Saigon and have a massive SUV and they're everywhere, and they take up literally, and this is not an exaggeration, they take up 85% of any road you go down. So sometimes you'll see a backup of bikes, and it's just because we cannot physically get around your massive SUV. It makes me I have in America, I had very bad road rage. It's better here, but every day when I'm just like, oh yeah, it's two buses and an SUV, and we're gonna be here for 25 minutes because we can't. The road is not set up for it.
But you know whose fault that is?
Tell me.
Americans.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
We don't have SUVs in Scotland. I mean, we probably do, but not to the same extent. In America, that's just the normal.
It's so common.
Family car.
Former driver of 2 or 3 different SUVs. So.
Yeah, there you go. So they're just copying American culture.
Okay, that actually
but it
makes
doesn't
sense.
fit for Saigon. Is the true point though? The roads are not big enough. They're not wide enough.
Yeah.
And sometimes they will take an SUV down a hem, which a hem is, if you're not from Vietnam or not been to Vietnam, is like a small laneway. It's not meant for an SUV.
It's not. A hem isn't made for even a mid-sized car, but it's true. Like there's, and they'll go down that hem with a lot of confidence. Like it's no problem. It's like, what part? Because of all of the physical, it's like physically you're trying to break the laws of physics, and then there's going to be street carts. So it's like you had no chance of making it through here. I always blame Americans. You're right. Bad on us. But here it just does not make sense. Yeah. The roads are not meant to do it. Yeah.
In my neighborhood, a Mercedes, pink, like really chewing gum pink, like a
Barbie pink.
Yeah, Barbie pink with golden. How do we say? Wheel caps.
Hubcaps.
And and the woman going out of it, it was pretty low. The car was pretty low, and it was a bit hard for her to get out of it. Also because the dress was maybe too tight, and the high heel. It was Barbie and her car. So it's pretty funny. I don't understand.
Yeah,
it's another culture.
Yeah, culture difference.
Yeah.
I saw you call it a tank?
Yeah, like a Hummer or a.
Yeah, like what Arnold Schwarzenegger is driving, or
Right.
yes, that I saw here, which looks pretty scary. Yeah.
I have seen a wooden Ferrari.
Wait, what? A wooden Ferrari
Yes,
in Saigon?
in Saigon.
Made to look like wood or actually wood?
I think it was actually wood.
Okay, that might be the winner of so far. A wooden Ferrari.
Yes, a wooden Ferrari, and then I think the whoever that drives it must be, a fanatic of Ferrari.
So we talked again earlier about understanding different cultures. So that for me, I cannot understand this culture here of buying a beautiful car and then bedazzling it or making it wood. Can you explain the cultural thought process to doing that?
I think it's just, people want attention,
It's just simple.
Yeah, in the US, people really don't care what car you drive unless you're dating someone. Not always the case, but people don't really care what car you drive. Not as much as here. But then here, maybe when people they buy a car, some people do want attention. Some people do feel like, oh, it's my car, my dream car. Then maybe I should do something fun with it. And another, yeah, I'm sorry. Another thing is that it's really cheap to change.
But what blows my mind is these cars are so beautiful, so expensive, like maybe a $500,000 car. That's attention enough. Like people are gonna be like, wow, look at that car.
Well, I think it's a car that I once owned myself, actually. A 1977 Mitsubishi Scorpion. Now, I was born in 1974, so I was driving a car that was only a few years younger than me, and it was crazy because it was unbelievable that it was actually still held together. Genuinely rust color because of the rust, and you could hear it 2 blocks away. And when I bought this car, I was a teacher at the time. One of the teachers took me aside and said, "Michael, you can't drive that to school. You're meant to be a professional. It looks like you bought it at a charity shop." My favorite car ever.
This was in Vietnam.
This was in Sydney.
Oh,
no,
Sydney.
I'm not brave enough to drive a car here.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
The gold car. That's
Yeah.
Also I like. Also there is one in Taojian. How do you call this color? I mean, it's like pinkish, but it's also silver at the same time, and it has sparkle in it. It's like, what the fuck is that? Why would you choose that color? I mean, okay, you choose it, nobody else is gonna have it. Like, you can always recognize your car in the parking, but wow. Like a car for a princess, like Barbie princess.
First time I was sitting in a Mercedes-Benz car. I think it was like a C1. It was in Germany back in like I think 19 years ago, because we finished a show in Berlin, and my friend who just brought this fancy car, I would say, and we took off from Berlin to Hamburg, and he was driving like not less than 200 kilometers per hour, like constantly.
Wow.
And in Germany, if you get on a highway, it's your call, how fast you want to drive. And I have to say, I was a little bit concerned, but I mean, like, it was a really crazy drive. I had, it was the very first impressions about cars, because I'm not a crazy cars person.
Yeah. We're Vietnamese, so you're a crazy motorbike person, right?
Yeah, and but lately I have another moment with a car. I don't think it's a car itself, but it's like the President VinFast car, like a very limited car. And I was in the car of my friend, who actually the chief of this entire project, and he was living in Mr. Hui. He grew up and he studied and he worked in Germany, and he connect all this company to be able to build the VinFast car. But the craziest for me is nowadays, we are 2021, I mean, like, even 10 years ago, nobody in Vietnam and in the world would expect like Vietnam would have its own car. You know, it's kind of weird, interesting idea, I would say.
Yeah, one of the things about Vietnam right now, living here and in general, is things happen so quickly. Like, and we've talked about it on this show before as well. Like, you know, the development is so fast, and I've kind of forgotten that. You've just made a point. When we arrived here 5 years ago, VinFast didn't exist. I don't even think they had a factory, but it was like when the decision was made by, I guess, the Vin group, like, we're going to make our own cars. They brought over experts from Germany, as you mentioned. They created a factory, they created an assembly line, they created a company, and they manufactured. I think it was like the quickest opening of a car manufacturer ever. Is that right? It took them only like 2 years.
No, the feeling is like this was like overnight, you know.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly it's just, okay, there's a car from Vietnam. You know, which is so crazy, you know.
Yeah. If you enjoy 7 Million Bikes, a Vietnam podcast, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram and check out the YouTube channel as well. If you want to support us, you can do that on patreon.com/7 million bikes. You can become a member and get amazing benefits. Check out the link in the notes below. And you can also buy us a coffee or a beer at coffee.com, ko-fi.com. Cheers! I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're like me, you may use your laptop at places where you have to use public Wi-Fi. This opens you up to digital snoopers. It's a massive problem. It can be your internet service provider, or you know who, looking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal trying to steal your bank passwords or credit card info, or even a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. These days, it is vital that you keep your data safe. NordVPN keeps all of these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites that are phishing for your data, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. And it's easy to use, even I could use it. I've actually been using NordVPN for years now here in Vietnam, and I'm excited to be an affiliate partner with them. I've used NordVPN to watch Netflix, BBC, Disney Plus with ease. And I also know that my information and data are safe from prying eyes, whoever they may be. Join now and you'll get 68% off and 3 months free when you go to my link, nordvpn.com/SMB. Just again, for those hard of hearing, nordvpn.com/SMB. The link is also in the show notes. I know nobody checks them out, but go check that out and you can get the link from wherever you're listening to this podcast. As an affiliate partner, it also means that I will get a small commission when you sign up, but at no extra cost to you. So not only will you be getting a great deal through 7 Million Bikes, you get a great VPN and you'll be supporting 7 Million Bikes podcast. Stay safe online and enjoy the shows you love. Any questions, just let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. And thanks for listening to this show. Cheers.